I'm loving iRestore's latest skincare products. Their Renew Calming Facial Spray is amazing, especially for dry skin. It gives instant hydration, calms irritation, and helps firm your skin. And when used before the Illumina Red Light Face Mask, it enhances the benefits of the therapy. I also suggest pairing the Renew Calming Facial Spray and Anti-Aging Eye Cream with your Illumina Face Mask so you can see even better results. Give your skincare the love it deserves. For a limited time, subscribe and save 25% off or more, plus free shipping on iRestore Skincare, and our listeners are getting a huge discount on the iRestore Illumina face mask when you use code SALLY at iRestore.com. So head over to iRestore.com and use code SALLY for our show's exclusive discounts. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Unlock your best skin with iRestore.
Good mornings start with optimal sleep, and Lagoon pillows are made just for that. They're customizable, supportive, and will have you waking up feeling your best. It's the thing that you lay your head on for 8 hours a night, and if it's not exactly right for you, it can lead to needless tossing and turning, or worse, have you waking up with that unrelenting kink in your neck each morning. Lagoon has helped us improve our sleep immensely by pairing us with the performance pillow that is everything we need. I was matched with the Fox pillow, and Sally was matched with the Otter pillow, which has helped us wake up refreshed and pain-free each morning. Lagoon's biggest sale of the year is happening right now, and it's better than the usual deal that we share. From now through Black Friday, get $25 off every Lagoon pillow, $60 off 2, or $160 off 4. No code needed. Don't wait until Black Friday weekend. This early access sale is live now, and popular pillows tend to sell out fast. Go to lagoonsleep.com/ChooseStrong and take their awesome 2-minute sleep quiz to find your match. Use the code ChooseStrong for 15% off your first purchase. That's lagoonsleep.com/ChooseStrong. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Choose Strong podcast. I am Eddie McCrae, and I am here with a special guest today. He's a father, he's a husband, he's a business owner, and he's got a powerful, very powerful, inspirational story that I'm super stoked to have you guys here today and listen. But before we get to Greg, I just want to give a little shout out to those of you running right now. Those of you that are running in the snow, big props to you. Be careful. And those of you training, those of you racing, well done. You guys are getting after it right now, and you are listening to the Choose Strong podcast, and that is something special. So we're stoked that you're here, stoked that you push play, because I know there's so many other podcasts that you could push play on, and you chose us. So we're grateful for that. But just want to thank you again for this past year, for listening, for tuning in. Sally and I have been so encouraged by the feedback and everything you guys have been sharing with us, and we're stoked and we're excited for the new year and new guests and new shows that we got in the pipeline. But I want to get on to our guest today. Like I said, his name is Greg Kelley, and he's got just an amazing story, and he's also got a pretty awesome hat on, if you guys can't see by now. He's repping some Choose Strong gear. So Greg, thanks for coming on the show, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Eddie, thank you. I love what you and Sally do. I love everything you guys are about as a husband and wife, the team that you guys have. It's very inspiring. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day, man, and I was talking about how I'm coming on y'all's podcast, the Choose Strong podcast, and I texted them, and I was like, and they're big fans too of you guys, and I said, hey, you never guess what podcast I'm going to do next week. And they're like, Joe Rogan's, like this and that. I'm like, no, whoa, hold on a second. I said, no, I'm doing the Choose Strong podcast, and I'd rather honestly do that one than Joe Rogan's podcast, just because I love what you guys do. I've, very inspired by Sally, what she's done in her craft as not only an athlete, but as a human being, as somebody who does a lot of good, who challenges people. I've 2 years ago when I got into running, I got into ultra running and still a baby in the sport. Done maybe 6, 7, or 8 ultras already. A couple 100 milers. I got a big one coming up in February. Um, the Rocky Raccoon. I'm sure a lot of runners who are in the 100 game, they've ran it before. It's going to be the first time I'm running it. Not the first time in that city of Huntsville, Texas, because that city, just 9 years ago, I was wrongfully convicted and serving a 25-year prison sentence.
Mm.
At 18 years old, I got wrongfully accused, falsely accused for a crime I had nothing to do with. My name got pinned into an accusation, uh, and it's one of the worst accusations you could ever get accused for. And it has to do with a child, and it has to do with a sexual charge. And when I talk about my life being completely derailed and being thrown into a nightmare, it's an understatement to say that because, um, you know, I'll go ahead and just begin with, I grew up here in North Texas, or not North Texas, North Central Texas, north of Austin. And I grew up with a family and mom and dad. Very fortunate to have mom and dad together. Grew up with older brothers. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. And so I've always had the tough love. They've always showed they love me and they were phenomenal athletes. And they've always made sure that I never went without. And so, but I grew up playing sports. I grew up playing multiple sports, ran track, played basketball, played a little baseball, played soccer, just trying to figure out what I was good at. And sports was a big outlet for me because growing up, we didn't really have much. We grew up in a mobile home out in the country, and it took like 20 minutes to get to school every day. But my mom and dad always provided, and I'm very fortunate. Be older now and have a child. You start realizing like all the things that you did when you're a kid. Like something I was talking to one of my employees in the shop today, and we were talking about slip and slides, and how if you ever grew up in a mobile home and you had the fake plastic flooring or whatever
Yeah.
in the kitchen, and you have a big kitchen, you'd wet it down, put some soap, and it's a slip and slide. And we didn't really grow up with much, but that was the memories I remember. I don't remember like the things my parents bought me or like the toys we had, but it was me and my brothers just wrestling and slipping and sliding and doing fun stuff. So now whenever I'm a father, I still remember a lot of the memories as a child. And no matter what I can provide for my child and where we're at now, whether that be whatever, right, financially, whatever, I will always remember how important it is to create these core memories. And
Yeah.
um, so I grew up with an amazing childhood. And then, I figured out that I had dyslexia and I had
Mm.
it bad. I couldn't read very much. I got held back in the first grade. I was made fun of a lot. I was chubby. I was a chubster. And so I ended up, going to dyslexia class, figuring all that out, then started to read it pretty well. And I figured out that sports was really good after I hit puberty. And I got super fast. I shot up really fast. And I focused more, dial in on football through my middle school and my high school years. Now, going into high school, I met this girl. Her name's Gabri. She's now my wife. And so we're high school sweethearts. And she's the captain of the dance. Her whole family comes from a dance background. Sisters are big commercial that went out to LA after high school, captains of the dance team. Just, as much as us men are so focused on a certain sport like football or whatever, and we eat, live, and breathe that. That's
Yeah.
that's what dance was to her. And so she was very goal driven, very goal oriented, very ambitious. And so we clicked very well because I started becoming that way in high school. And her and I started dating in high school, and we started going out. It worked out perfectly because we were both busy all the time. I was training and she was training. And so fast forward a little bit, and my dad has a pretty bad stroke, and he's been a car salesman his whole life, and he that stuff runs in the family, and he didn't really take care of himself for a few years after the stress of being a car salesman. And so I don't know where, man, he had a stroke going
Mm.
into my sophomore year, and it really devastated me. Or at the end of my sophomore year, it really devastated me, and devastated my mother too. And football was like at an all time. I was getting letters already for college and this and that. And so I had a best friend at the time. His name was Jonathan. He, we would always go to his house and hang out. And I'm just setting up now in the story what kind of how the accusation came about.
Yeah.
And we were at this house, and we were, you know, I was a bunch of people always hung out there, and it was ran it as an in-home daycare by his mother. And there was maybe about 4 to 8 kids there at a time every day. And I remember going there a lot, just like after school, waiting for my mom to pick me up. And then, we would go home, and we'd go there every once in a while. And then when they figured out that my dad had a stroke, his mom was super nice, opened up her home. Her name's Shama, and opened up her home to me and said, "Hey, if you need to live here because your family lives so far away, you can. It's fine. You got a lot of stuff going on for you, football, whatever." And I told my mom about it, and because at that time, I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit. At that time, my mom, we got hit with another tidal wave. My mom got diagnosed with brain tumors, so
Oh,
now both of
jeez.
my parents are out. And that's when Shama, very shortly after, Shama opened up her home to me, because now I'm essentially just by myself. My brothers are already out of the
Mm.
nest. They're living their life. They're not nowhere near here. So I still have to go to school. I still have to train. And so being Jonathan being one of my best friends at the time, and Shama being so nice, my mom said, absolutely, like, thank you. That means the world. One mother to another mother, it means the world that you would open up your home to my son. So all through my junior year, almost all through my junior year of high school, I was living at that house with Jonathan. And at first it started great. My whole life, my whole schedule started off with go to school, right, or go to work out at Gold's Gym, go lift at
Mhm.
5:30 in the morning, go to school. Before school, we had football practice, then we'd go through do a school day. Then after school, I would get another lift, then I'd watch film, then I'd come home, change really quick, go to work. I worked at the Cinemark, the movie theater for like
Theaters.
4 to 5 years, or 4 to 5 hours a day, 5 days a week,
Mm.
come home, do like an hour of homework really quick. Um, Go to bed, do it all over again. Like my schedule was really tight knit as a kid, and I really didn't in my whole junior year. I really didn't have a normal junior year. I had to provide for myself. My family, like I said, we didn't have much financially, and in order for me to get, have a little bit of money in the bank account, take care of myself, get the things I need for football, all that, it was coming out of my own pocket.
Mm.
And so fast forward about 10 months, my dad is still doing pretty bad. He's now in a rehab facility trying to rehab himself. His stroke was devastating. It completely like obliterated half of his body. Um,
Ugh.
and it was really hard to go visit my dad and see him that way. My dad's always been super strong, macho man type. He's just, a good guy, strong willed. I mean, didn't take any crap, very gentle. Like it's just, when I think of a guy who's can, be a teddy bear but also a gladiator, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
And yeah, my mom ended up getting a little bit better, and she we had a conversation. I said, "Mom, I don't want to live here anymore." And she says, "Why?" "I thought you liked it there, and I understand. I get if you want to come back home. I'm getting better, and I'm going to be home in about 2 weeks. But why are you saying that you don't want to live there anymore?" I said, "Jonathan's doing some stuff that it's just not good for me to be around." And he's like, "What do you mean by that, Greg?" And he's messing around with drugs. He's bringing people over to the house that's not supposed to be here. He's not coming home until 2 a.m. on a school night sometimes. And, you know, I just don't feel safe here anymore. And
So
mom,
Jonathan Sorry, Jonathan,
Oh, good.
he wasn't like a football player. He was just kind of a buddy.
Jonathan, he was a football player, and
Oh, okay. He was
yeah,
on the team.
he was my backup, and so,
Gotcha.
I'll fill in the blanks there. So Jonathan, he it was my little brother, and people
Okay.
mistaked us all the time as little brothers. And everything I'm saying right now, if you guys wanna know more of an in-depth kind of depiction of my case and everything I'm telling you, you could watch the documentary on Paramount Plus called Outcry. It's a 5-part documentary, on Paramount Plus. It won an Emmy back in 2020,
Hmm.
because it's pretty gut-wrenching. It's pretty captivating because there's this side of the justice system that we don't know, and we're shielded from because it's not profitable. It's not
Hmm.
click-worthy. It's not drama, and it produces uproar because there's
Hmm.
laws that are in Texas, specifically here, that makes it super easy to get not only accused, but to not have any investigation, then get indicted by a grand jury to stand for trial with no evidence other than just an accusation of your name, and then being threatened to 25 to 99 years in prison just off of an accusation with no evidence. And it's absolutely terrifying, but it's the truth here in Texas, and it's not, it's not mainstream, and they don't like talking about it. Lawmakers don't like talking about it, and there's very little people doing work to try to correct it, and it's very scary. And I live in a county with a 98% conviction rate, and there's multiple cases, man. One of the biggest high profile cases in this county is this case, the Michael Morton case. He wrote a book called Getting Life, and Michael Morton, briefly, I'll explain, was a man back in the 80s who got wrongfully convicted in Williamson County for killing his wife. And he never killed his wife. He went out for work one morning and he got a call. He came home and there was cop cars, and his wife was completely brutally murdered in their
Hmm.
house. And then next thing you know, he turns around and he's being questioned as the guy who did it, and by the Williamson County Sheriff's Department. And then he never could grieve his wife's death because he became the person of interest throughout this whole
Yeah.
process.
Jeez.
Then he gets sentenced to life in prison with no evidence against him other than a crooked sheriff's department pinning him and painting him to be a monster. And we can paint people to be a monster in this state, by the way. When it comes to that side, man, it's sad. And I'll explain about painting somebody to be a monster, because I got painted to be a monster. I got compared to Ted Bundy during my
Mm.
during my trial, and it's crazy. It's crazy, and
Jeez.
I'll explain that story here in a little bit. But back to it, Jonathan, yeah, he played football. He was like my backup, and during this process of living with him, I've realized that my best friend is going down a bad path of drugs, and he's also completely infatuated with my girlfriend. Like
Mm.
it's more now like a situation where he envies what I have or what I am, because at the same time it's sad because I've had to witness his own mother kind of compare him to me in a lot of ways, because I'm
Mm.
trying to go make something of myself and get out of here, earn a scholarship. I'm definitely not going to go to college paying my way through. So I need to go get a scholarship, and that's what I'm doing. So I've already got offers now. All through my junior
Yeah.
year, I'm getting D1 offers here in Texas, and I'm really working hard for that UT Austin and go play for the Longhorns. And so
Mm.
I'm on that track because I'm already getting letters from them. But they don't go after 3 stars. They go after the 5 stars earlier on, and
Yep.
whatever's left, they go after the 3 stars. And I was a 3-star. So, yeah, UTSA, Rice University, Baylor, those type of schools I was getting
Yep.
offers from. So, yeah, Jonathan, it was a situation where I told my mom I need to leave, and she said, "Okay, let's get you home in 2 weeks." So, right before the school year ends in 2013, so think late spring, early summer, I end up moving in with my mother again, and we go back to living in our house. And now the summer happens, and I had already played on the varsity team that year, right? So the summer happens, and I'm going now into my senior year. So my junior year ended. I'm going into my senior year. I'm getting commissioned to be a team captain, a leader. Like during the summer, we do something called summer strength and conditioning, where it's a high school program for the high school football players to keep them off the streets, keep them out of the video games, keep them working out, type deal. And I was one of the captains running it, so I'm there. First one there, last one to leave. Leading by example. That's what my coaches preached to us all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I one day it's a normal summer day, man, middle of summer, to 2013. I get out of champions course and I look at my phone, and it's a bunch of text messages and a bunch of missed calls from my brother Marlon. My brother Marlon, by the way, is one of my closest brothers. We hang out a lot, and he's older. He's my second oldest brother. When I was a kid, I vaguely remember a lot of memories of him just taking me to the movies and watching my favorite movies when they would come out. Like, he's just a good older brother that likes taking his little brother out, right? And so him and I are the closest as far as keeping in communication all the time. And so he called me and texted me, and he knew Shama because I was living there, and he would come check on me every once in a while. And he said, "Hey, are you on your way to Shama's house? Or are you going home?" I said, "I'm going home." He says, "Don't come to Shama's. Something's happening. I got to go over there." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "There's an accusation that something happened to a child, and your name's involved." I said, "Why is my name involved? And what happened to a child?" He says, "Well, this father is saying that something sexually happened to their child, and he's saying that the child's saying it's you." And I'm like, "What?" And I said, "Well, this is crazy. That's not nothing at all. What do you mean?" "Okay, I'm heading over there right now. Like, are you sure my name is being attached to this? I'm being accused of something?" And he says, "Yeah." He's like, "Just go home. I'm heading over there right now because the dad is pissed." Rightfully so. I mean, I'm a dad now. If something happens, I need answers. So, but I'm on the other end of this though. I'm like, "What's going on?" I'm trying to go down to the bottom of it. So, of course, I listen to my brother, and I'm waiting for him to call me back. And I go home, big question mark. And I'm like, this is, whenever something like that happens, when I was a kid, I've watched enough documentaries to know that accusations are serious. And I remember specifically remembering that I can't remember what doc it was, but as a adolescent teen, I was watching this documentary where an athlete was accused of something that he never did, and their life became a living hell, and they went down a nightmare of a path because of it. And now that's going on through my head. I'm like, "What's going on?" And so my brother ends up calling me back and saying, "Hey, like, the dad's super pissed. He says he's gonna go to the police. We probably need to get a lawyer." And I said, "Well, hold on a second. Let them go to the police, and the investigation will happen, and my name will be clear, and everything will be okay." And that's how much I trusted our justice system.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll explain here in a little bit the benefits of being naive, and also the drawbacks of being naive when it comes to being not living enough life to believe and trust anybody of authority. And it's a huge lesson, Eddie, to live by, because we really idolize celebrities, and if we go across somebody with millions of followers, we immediately almost metaphorically get on our hands and knees and worship them, because for some reason they have this authority status of a huge following, but they can be a terrible rotten of a person. And I've learned a lot about that, man, along the way of life. And that's why when I'm not trying to cast stones to Joe Rogan or anything, but when somebody said, you going on Joe's, I remember I was like, I'd rather go on the Choose Strong podcast, just because it's it's not about celebrities anymore, man. It's about people that you really admire, that you draw from a lot in life, and you think of whenever you're going through tough times, or you think of whenever like I'm gonna go run the Bigfoot 200 or I'm gonna run the Moab 240 one day, and I'm thinking of the documentaries I've watched with Sally and what she went through, in Cocodona, like freaking feet,
Yeah.
busting open and all that stuff, dude. And like I remember, like out of all that pain, she finishes like hyped up, like fired up because she went through hell and she made it. And so,
Yeah.
those are the people you admire. And it's no
Mhm.
longer the celebrities with millions of followers. It's the people that undeniably stack the evidence that they say who they are who they say they are. And
Sure.
and so go back to the story. I yeah, I tell my brother like, "Yeah, cool. Like let him go to the police. Let's go." And I'll go to the police. Like, "Do I need to talk?" And so yeah, fast forward, you know, I never get a call from a police officer. Nobody ever tries to interview me. I remember I have a trip during this process, and it's kind of crazy, man. It's like a hurry up and wait process because I'm not like officially accused of anything. Like my life's not derailed yet. So whenever an accusation happens, you just go on with everyday life. And of course we do provisions and we get an attorney. And we don't know where to get an attorney, man. Like I don't live this life. I don't walk this life. So I'm never in need of a criminal attorney.
Yeah.
So where do you find one? Like
Totally.
the billboards, right? Like a Better Call
Yeah.
Saul situation or what? Like where do you get one? And I remember Shama, and everything I'm saying, it'll go all full circle. So whoever's listening, just remember, like everything I'm about to tell you actually has a full circle moment at the very end. Because there's a reason why the doc won an Emmy, and it's because if a perfect storm ever happened of just absolute bull crap to happen in a case, it was mine.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
like from all angles, like conflict of interest to corruption to lack of due process to lack of integrity of an investigation to
Ugh.
blatant just stupidity, everything, man. So
Yeah.
um,
Jeez.
I go to Shama and we go to Shama and Jonathan's mother and say, hey, I don't even know where to get an attorney. Where do I get one? And so she recommends me a lady named Patricia Cummings. And she said, oh, she's a super attorney. She's great. She's got a great record. Now, little do I know, and I don't know this at the time, Patricia previously represented her family multiple times and has previously represented one of Jonathan's brothers in a sexual related case
Mm.
and got him a pretty sweet plea deal to avoid a lot of time in prison, but instead got him 8 years in prison. So she's used to work
Interesting.
with Shama. I didn't know this, right? And I don't know what conflict of interest means either. Right? I'm a
Mhm.
dumb
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
So, and Eddie, I hope your boy watches this podcast because this is very important for young men. A
Yeah.
lot of the things I'm about to say next, it's very important because we're naive, man. We're naive when we put all of our eggs. We don't live enough life, and we put all of our eggs into one thing, and it's okay. I mean, we're kids. Like we're supposed to be
Mhm.
protected. Like we're supposed to be protected by individuals, and we don't need to grow up this fast. Unfortunately, I had to grow up really fast, and I
Yeah.
had to make decisions too that if I didn't make the right ones, it would alter my life for the rest of my life.
Yeah, really quick. So the lawyer that they recommended and you went with because you're like, yeah, that's I don't know where else to go. Your dad, he's in rehab at this point, so he didn't have a
Exactly.
say really to. Okay,
My dad's not there. I mean, my dad can't be.
gotcha.
He's fighting for himself right now. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, he knows what's going on, but my dad's in and out. Like my dad during this whole
yeah.
process, man, my dad's starting to develop dementia. I guess
Mm,
it runs genetically in his family
mm-hmm.
and his father had it. And my dad was pretty old when this happened. He was in his 60s already. My dad, I mean, I'm the youngest of 9 children that my dad had. So,
Oh wow,
yeah, I'm at the tail end of his father, I mean, his age here. So,
sure.
um, yeah, I mean, he started developing early onset dementia and all that. So it was really bad. A few years later, it was really tough, man. Like my dad's no longer here with us, and I was very
Mm,
fortunate to be somewhat free when he'd passed, and I got to be by his side, and you know, I got to help him walk towards the kingdom of heaven and be
mm.
accepted. And it's just, there it is. I'll get to that part, but um, when all this happened, man, where did I leave off?
You got the lawyer, Patricia Cummings.
Okay, yeah, Patricia.
Yeah.
So go have a meeting with her and all that, right? And um, I end up hiring her, and she tells me, like, "I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted." It's a slow process. The first thing we need to realize is if this detective is going to pursue this, if they're going to investigate this, or if these accusations are actually true and they hold weight and it needs to be investigated. I said, "Okay, cool." So I already have a trip planned to go out to LA with uh with Gabriel and her family. We're going to the ESPYs. And so we do that trip, and during that trip, it's already a couple weeks now after the accusation. The detective apparently is doing the work, and I come back after the trip, and my attorney says, "Hey, come in my office." And I said, "Okay." This is like a month later now, and she says, "There's a warrant out for your arrest."
Hmm.
What? A warrant out for my arrest? What does that mean? You're gonna get arrested. Now, how? Why? How can they do this? Like, how? What do they have to arrest me? Like, nothing happened. And they're like, no, no, it doesn't work that way, Greg. What happened was this: they took the child into this center called the Children's Advocacy Center, and it's a center specifically towards children that have been abused or sexually assaulted, and it's a center to give a formal thing called an outcry. Hence, that's what my documentary is called.
Yeah.
Because at the end of all this, Eddie, what convicted me was just an outcry. And it was an accusation of my name being put into this accusation from a child who you'll realize is very confused and the police do nothing about it.
Mm.
That's where the lack of due process happens. That's what happens when you don't do an investigation. And that's what transpired after I had to turn myself in. My attorney says, "You're about to get arrested and we need to go turn yourself in tomorrow morning at 6 a.m." And no, I'm not going to turn myself in. I'm not going to do that. That would say I'm like guilty. I'm not going to do that. No, that doesn't mean to say you're guilty, Greg. It's that there's a warrant out for your arrest, and regardless, they're going to come and take you wherever you are. Whether that be at work or at school or during football practice, wherever you are, a squad car is going to come and take you away. Or you can go and walk into a jail. See, people don't, and that's the thing, Eddie, is that a lot of people, they don't realize that part. When it's
Yeah.
so crazy because the media will spin that saying like Greg Kelley's turning himself in for this. And then the comments, right? The comments
Oh,
are
yeah.
saying like, guilty mother effer, blah blah. If you're innocent, you wouldn't turn yourself in. I'm like, that's not how it works, dude.
Mm.
So that bugged me for a long time, man. Like as a kid, I'm known for being on the news for making highlights as a football player, right? Being on top of the world, right? Greg Kelley just commits to UTSA, right? Like, and the next thing you know, like my name is being dragged through the mud as a pedophile, as a child molester, and I have no idea how to handle it. I have no idea.
You're 17 at this point?
I'm 18 years old,
You're 18, okay.
and I a lot is happening in my life. The
Mm.
first tidal wave, my dad. Second tidal wave, my mom. Third tidal wave, my life's getting derailed by accusations. Football is like, I'm thinking in my head, just flashing, like football is being taken away from me. All my eggs are in
Yeah,
that. That's my
totally.
whole identity. There's no really point of living anymore. And
Mm.
that's what's going on through my head That is the place I'm getting to. And, you know, I time happens where tomorrow I have to go and turn myself in, and it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to write in my book that I'm writing right now. Um, is that day the day that I got ripped away from my family and my freedom got derailed. And that day, that morning, man, I had to walk into that so the diet so okay, so what happened was, I'm gonna tell you what briefly, after I got told that I need to turn myself in,
Mhm.
my father-in-law, his name's David, uh, he's an amazing guy, super amazing guy. Like, you know, the world says you should hate your in-laws. I freaking love them. Like, I love them because
That's awesome.
they through this whole situation, man, my in-laws, they did more than most family would do for somebody. Like,
Mm,
it's crazy, man, to think.
that's awesome.
I went to my father-in-law. I The first person I called after I heard that I needed to turn myself in, one of the first people, I called a few people, but one of the first people that I needed to let know that I'm about to do this because it's about to be public information, clearly,
Mhm.
was was David, was my
Yeah.
girlfriend's dad. And I don't know what possessed me to do that, because what you're doing is you're going in front of this man who his treasure is his girl, and you're about to go and tell him that you're being accused of this and that you don't know why this is happening to you. And you're an absolute fool. Like, anybody would be
Yeah.
a fool to do that. But I don't know what, man, like, something I was supposed to take his leadership class. He was a golf coach and leadership teacher here at the high school I was at. And it's funny,
Okay.
I've been on a few podcasts and I say, "Hey, yeah, he was a leadership teacher." He's like, "Wait, y'all had leadership class in high school? That's crazy." Like, I wish I
Yeah,
would
that's
have had
cool.
leadership class. And a lot of
Yeah,
men, man, in this
totally.
area, they see David at Costco or at the gas station, they shake his hand, because a lot of men who
Mhm.
decide to stay in the Leander, Texas, Cedar Park, Texas area, they remember him. He's planted so many seeds in these men's life that are now fathers, business owners,
That's
husbands,
cool.
and they remember a lot of the lessons that he taught them in class. And so,
Yeah, so you went to him 'cause you trusted him and
yeah, I went to him and
respected him, yeah.
I sat down with him and I said, "David, I gotta tell you something. I gotta let you know I'm about to go do something, man. And I'm scared to death right now." And he says, "Greg, what's going on? Like, tell me what's going on." And I tell him, and I mean, just to see the look on his face, what I was going in there and I was expecting, right, to be thrown out of the house and for David to call his daughter and say, "Who the F are you dating?"
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
But instead, he embraces me. He hugs me. And I mean, he asks me, "Did you do it?" And I said, "No."
Mm.
And he says, "Okay, then we're behind you." And whoa, I'm like, "What
That's
is this?"
powerful.
What is this? It's inspiring. It's inspiring to that's wow. It's to do that as a man is
Mm.
crazy. And I end up next morning or that night I call my girlfriend. I call Gabriel. She doesn't know what's going on. I was told not to tell anybody other than my immediate family, and it sucked because I love Gabriel, and
Sure.
she's my girlfriend. We've been dating for years now, and I can't tell her what I'm going through for the past month.
Mm.
And I call her. I go and stay with my brother that night with my mom, and I remember going into one of the guest rooms, laying on the bed, and talking to her and telling her what's going on, and she just goes numb. She can't believe what I'm saying. She's like, "Are you kidding me? Like, what? Like, you're joking." I'm like, "I'm not joking. This is not a joke. This would be a sick joke, but this is not a joke. I have to go do this." But I remember, like, taking the position where I'm trying to tell her, like, "It's gonna be okay. Like, we have hope." We both grew
Mm.
up in very faith-filled families. And so I remember just telling her, like, "God's got us. Like,
Mm.
we're we have hope. We have each other." Um, and so I'm very glad that I end up taking that angle, and I'm very glad that I chose that mindset, because Now the next morning, I had to go walk into that county jail and turn myself in at 6 o'clock in the morning, and my mom was there, and I still remember the sound of the handcuffs. They have to put handcuffs on you. Like,
Mm.
why are you putting handcuffs on you? Like, you're already in the jail.
Jeez.
Like,
Yeah.
but it's a form of, like, dehumanization. It's a form of, like, saying,
Mm.
like, "You're officially arrested, and you're now going to go back here to this booking area," and something that should have taken just a few hours ended up taking 13 hours. I sat there, and it was, like, a weird moment, man, where I'm sitting on a bench, and I'm looking around me, and I'm looking at a bunch of hurt people, like, a bunch
Mm.
of hurt people, like, people that are coming off of a crazy drug-filled night, to people pissing themselves, to people, you know, in there for beating women. Like, these are guys that just got in there that booked, and I'm wow, like, crazy. And
You're as
so,
18-year-old boy, like, "Well, where am I? What's
dude,
going
yeah,
on?"
I woke up
Jeez.
I woke up in a void, like, I woke up in the freaking
Yeah.
Twilight Zone, like, I woke up in the
Yeah.
multiverse or something, like, what is going
That's
on?
gotta be
And, I get bonded out, and I get the whole official thing done, mugshot, all that, and,
mm.
go see the magistrate. They tell me my charges, and the charge originally was aggravated sexual assault of a child. So, I end up getting, bonded out, and I go home that night, and I remember just weeping all night with my family,
Mm.
and nobody really talked, but that room has never been so loud for me, and,
Mm.
and we were all just hurting, and I'm now expected and told by my attorney, "Just continue to go live life." Like, it's just a charge, it's just an arrest. I'm like, "How?
Yeah,
How?"
how do you do that?
So, I have to, though, and I got arrested on a Friday, got bonded out that night, and, a whole weekend goes by, and Monday morning, I have to go to Champions Course, okay? It's still the summer.
Yeah.
We're, like, 2 weeks away from school starting, though.
Okay.
So that Monday, I have to go to Champions Course. I go to Champions Course, and I do the workouts, all that, and then that evening that afternoon, I get out, or not afternoon, but, like, around 10:30, 11 o'clock. My mom picks me up, and we go and we're supposed to go have lunch together. And we both know what's hanging over everything right now. Like, we both know what happened on Friday,
Sure.
okay? We go to this Chinese buffet restaurant. We park in the parking lot, and I have my phone, and I'm kinda anxious, like, I got my mugshot taken. Like, it's out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And next thing you know, I'm getting, like, ding, ding, tweet, 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 like, and I open it up, and I'm plastered everywhere, everywhere. I'm blowing up, my mugshots everywhere. And now I'm getting messages on social media and on my phone, people saying, "What the F is this? What's
Mm.
this?" And it's there. It's my mugshot with that charge. Greg Kelley, star high school football player, arrested for sexual assault of a child. And man, dude, like, when I
Jeez.
tell you that my world came crashing down, yeah, I didn't wanna live anymore that very moment.
Mm.
I broke I remember throwing my phone down on the floor of my mom's car, getting into a ball and started weeping, and
Jeez.
my mom ends up, like, getting out of the car, comes around to the side of the car, opens up the door, and just holds me,
Mm.
and I tell my mom, like, "Why is this happening? Why is this happening?" And my mom ends up, my mom ends up just praying. And she's just
Mm.
such a faith-filled woman, and she just ends up praying just out loud to Jesus. It's just I, yeah, we end up leaving, and, we go home, and I just lay on the couch, just continue to cry, and on my phone I just turn off my phone because it's getting too much,
Sure.
and, Yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's crazy. Like I've really during this whole process, I've realized how much our mind and our body protects us from trauma. Like
Mm,
there's a lot of that time where it's really patchy for me. Like I remember specific things, but then like there's just 2 months that I don't remember. Like and I don't remember this part of my life, or I don't remember this moment, or I don't remember this day very well. And it's like your brain protects you so the trauma doesn't truly destroy you. And
yeah.
it's a crazy thing, and I've done a lot of research on it. But yeah, so what happens there is time goes on, and a month later, I'm getting kicked out of during this process, I'm getting kicked out of school, I'm getting kicked out of a football team, I'm getting my scholarship stripped away, I'm this and that. A month later, Eddie, I'm in this alternative learning center that a bunch of the troubled kids go to
Yeah.
school because school's already started.
Mhm.
I get ripped out of my class at this alternative center, and I get asked to go to the principal, and at the principal's office is waiting 2 deputies, two police officers to arrest me again. I'm now getting charged with a second child. So now,
Jeez.
from the outside looking in, what does that look like? To a normal person who's watching this from the outside looking in, what does this look like? Greg did it. Like,
Yeah,
Greg did it.
exactly. Jeez.
Like, anybody who's on the fence, they're no longer on the fence.
Mm,
So, anybody outside of the people that love me and the people that truly know me, no, no,
yeah,
Greg did
jeez.
this.
Mm,
And now being, giving you a point of view of what I'm going through, I'm in living hell.
yep.
I'm in living hell. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in a position, Eddie, where everything is going against you at that magnitude, man, where it's like you just don't wanna live anymore. Like,
Mm,
what's the fastest and closest way to die right now? Because I
jeez.
think I'm in a dream. I don't think I'm living life right now. I actually think I'm in a nightmare and I need to wake up. That is what's going on in my head. And being 18 years old, I legit thought I was in a nightmare. This is a simulation. This is a simulation, and I'm gonna wake up from this. And I thought about that when I was in the cop car heading back to the county jail again to get arrested, but it's not. This is real life. So I'm big about a lot of questions, like, what's going on? I'm asking the police officer in the cop car, "What's going on? I already went through this. I didn't do anything." "I don't know, Greg. We're told to come get you," and, you know. So, I'm having to get some answers. I want answers, and so my attorney visits me in in jail. It says, "There's a second child apparently is accusing you of this." I said, "Impossible. Like, what's going
Yeah.
on?" And she says, "Well, from what I understand is the detective who has your case, his name is Chris Daly." And the other podcast I was on, they were like, "You're just name dropping all these people." I'm like, "Well, they're in the documentary, so
Yeah, it's
I'm
already
not
out.
telling you anything
Yeah.
that's already out there." So
Mhm.
this guy, I mean, this detective, what happened was, Eddie, is he ended up calling a bunch of parents at the daycare, saying that Greg Kelley molested a child at this daycare you trust, and I'm afraid he's molested your child. Oh, whoa, as a dad,
Yeah.
where do I need to take my child?
Mm,
So, takes another child to the Children's Advocacy Center, where the detective said, "Take the child," and the child 3 times said nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to me. No, no, it's just like, watch the
mm,
documentary, you'll see it. Nothing happened. And eventually, we've, you know, post me going to prison, um, there we as my private investigating team during my appeal process, we hired this child psychologist who's a professional in interviewing children, and she just said, like, this is a classic example of a child realizing that they're not pleasing an adult. So they're going to say whatever they need to say in order to get out of a very uncomfortable situation. And so they realizing that, like, the difference was that the kid was saying, "No, no, no, this never happened," until he started saying, "Yes, yes, yes," and the interview was over. So the interview's over now. The detective has what he needs to go get another arrest warrant to strengthen the first child.
Mm.
And now we're here. I'm in jail again.
If you're in the hunt for a day pack, you have to check out John G's Revy Pack. It's an 18-liter technical day pack which has a 15-inch laptop reservoir sleeve and includes 2 soft flasks. There are also 2 zip pockets on the front chest straps that include a safety whistle, John G's signature blue S-binder key clip, and it can fit the largest size phones. And its lightweight, elastic waist belt stows directly behind the back foam padding. The Revy Pack has 3 large external mesh drop-in pockets also and can store water bottles, thermos, trekking poles, slides, shoes, or layers. I've taken it out on bike rides and I've filled it with a ton of stuff, including my laptop and even a camera. It's a great multi-use pack and it's very comfortable to wear. For more information on the Revy Pack or to pick up any of John G's running gear, head over to johng.com and use code CHOOSESTRONG for 10% off of your order. That's johng.com, code CHOOSESTRONG. Bond Charge is a holistic wellness brand with a huge range of evidence-based products to optimize your life in every way. Founded on science and inspired by nature, all Bond Charge products adopt ancestral ways of living in our modern-day world. Their extensive range of premium wellness products help you sleep better, perform better, have more energy, recover faster, reduce inflammation. The list is endless. Our favorite product from Bond Charge is their infrared sauna blanket. If you're looking to ease stress and unwind, the sauna blanket can do just that. The infrared heat and your elevated heart rate, all while relaxing, releases endorphins, which can leave you feeling euphoric after your session. It takes less than a minute to set up, heats up quickly, and you'll feel revitalized and less stress after sessions. And they offer free shipping on every sauna blanket, no hidden costs. Go to bondcharge.com and use coupon code SALLY to save 15%. That's BONCHARGE.com and use coupon code SALLY to save 15%.
So, yeah, I'm getting charged again. And in the court of public opinion, everyone who's doubting the situation, it's completely tore my town apart. I'm the number one story for a long time.
Yeah.
And absolutely ugly things are being said about me online. I deleted all my social medias, and the people that love me are still behind me. And now there's like a big long waiting process to go to trial. And I was never supposed to go to trial. It was supposed to end up having a judge throw this out because this is absolutely ridiculous, but that's not what happened. What happened was there was a lot of no news for like 7 months. I'm calling my attorney, what's going on? There's no new development, Greg. Continue to do what you need to do. You're in limbo, right? So I'm like working for my uncle. Like I'm already graduated. I graduated school early through the Alternative Learning Center. Like my life, I'm in a cave. Like I'm in a cave for months, several months.
Yeah,
Then I get
7 months. That's insane.
yeah,
So long.
so long of nothing, right?
Jeez.
Like my case is on a freaking desk, and this guy's doing nothing. And I'm thinking this guy's actually doing an investigation, and I'm waiting for like the news to pop up saying that this is absolute crazy. Like charges dropped. Greg Kelley, go live your life. Whatever. No news. And I'm pushing this thing because at the end of all this, one college is still holding on, and that's UTSA. And I'll get back. And like I say, everything I'm saying is going to go full circle.
Yeah.
So this coach named Neil Nethery at UTSA, he's the defensive coordinator. He was the recruiting coach that recruited me in high school. I originally committed to them. And I remember having this conversation when I got accused for all this. And I told him what's going on. And I said, just please stay around. Like, I'm innocent of this. You guys are like my way out. Like, you guys are my future. And this guy told me, he says, Greg, since you committed to us, we'll commit to you. And we'll ride you. We'll ride with you. We'll ride with you till the very end. But unfortunately, Greg, if things go south, we're going to have to pull it. And I said, "It's not gonna do that. Everything's gonna clear up, I promise." And, they rode with me, man, until the very day that I got ripped away. And
Wow.
that's something special because
Mm.
Neil Nethery, when I get my life back, he's at Eastern Michigan University. He was at Eastern Michigan University. When I get my life back and I get exonerated, right? After I fighting like hell to prove my innocence after getting ripped away from my family. He's at Eastern Michigan University as defensive coordinator, and he calls me and he asks me if I want to play football again.
Mm.
And he offers me a full ride scholarship to go play football in
Dude, that's
college.
awesome.
So that full circle moment for me is something special, and
Yeah.
it's going to be on a big platform pretty soon, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. But yeah, man, I get indicted one day, like 10 months after the accusation. I get indicted by a grand jury to go stand trial. And I'm asking my attorney, "How can this be? This is not right. Like, this is crazy. Like, there's no what's the evidence?" They're like, "Greg, you got indicted on the outcry." On the outcry? Well, in the state of Texas, when it comes to a sexual assault of a child, at the end of the day, Greg, the language can sound all fancy, but what it boils down to in layman's terms is if the kid continues to stick with the accusation, then you go stand trial and you allow a jury to believe either you or the kid.
Mm.
What? What? Dude, what? I said, "No, what? Like, you're talking about I'm gonna go to prison for the rest of my life off of an accusation of a child?" And there's no, like, investigation, there's no, like, proving of facts, there's no bringing forth facts to actually prove that this person did this, like, what happened to, like, beyond a reasonable doubt? What happened to
Mhm.
concrete evidence? What happened to, like, all of this stuff that, like, isn't in our Constitution? And,
Yeah.
like, oh, man, it's just she's like, "Yeah, it's just how law is in Texas." And so I'm like, "Well, what's the choice here? What's the choice? What do we need to do?" And they're like, "Well, you're gonna go stand trial, and now we have to start preparing to prove that you didn't do this in trial,
Mm.
and we gotta allow the jury to ultimately believe you and find you not guilty." Now, not guilty is very important because there's a difference between being not guilty and being exonerated. And
Mm.
a good example of this is the O.J. Simpson case. Okay, O.J. Simpson was found not guilty, but what does the court of public opinion believe? That he's guilty, right?
They did it, yeah.
So there's a difference. There's a difference between walking at trial and doubt still being there, and there's a difference between being exonerated and proven innocent by fact.
Mm.
There's a difference.
Yep.
And so I say this because, again, full circle. I end up going to trial, and this is where it gets really tough. And if you're young, and if you're a young man, if you're in your teens or your 20s and you're listening to this, if you're a woman, it doesn't matter who you are. But at one moment, there's going to be this time in your life, and I've had to really think about this and reflect. And for me, I call it a man moment. And when I was a sophomore in high school, I was running with like two friends, and we ended up doing something really stupid. We ended up like swapping out our shoes at a Kohl's department store, and we ended up getting caught on surveillance camera. And dumbest thing I've ever done. And like I they showed us, they brought us back to the room. They're like, "You guys are idiots. Like, what are y'all doing?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't like we didn't think it was gonna be a big deal." I'm like, "Yeah, you guys are swapping out your shoes." And well, I'm calling the cops. And at the time, I'm like, crap, my life's over. And the cops come, and the cops like, call your parents. And the shoes were over $50. They're like $70 shoes. Call your parents. And my dad ends up coming, and this was like months before my dad had his big stroke. And my dad shows up, and he talks to the cop, And he tells him, like, and, just picture this. My dad's like away in the distance. I'm sitting on the curb and I'm watching my dad talk to this police officer, and they're both looking at me like, just like, and my
Shaking
dad's
their
like
heads, like,
pointing at
yeah.
me and, pretty much like putting his head down, saying like, it's embarrassing, as a dad. And he tells him like, this kid has a lot of future in front of him. He made a stupid mistake, and I will personally make sure he never does this again, or he even thinks about doing this again. And I'll make sure that he pays every dime back if he needs to go work for the store for a week or whatever. And, the cop comes over to me and says, you got a good dad here.
Mm.
You're going to go home today and go put grab your shoes and go. And then the
Yeah.
cop told me something is, if I ever see you ever again doing something you're not supposed to be doing, or if I ever see you in trouble ever again as a criminal, then I will testify against you or something like that. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm getting wrongfully, falsely accused of like a crime. I'm thinking, what's this cop thinking right now? Like, and I think about that cop all the time, man, because that cop gave me grace that day. And,
Mm.
in the car, my dad says something to me, and this is why I truly believe that, like, God can really do and teach you incredible lessons in your
Mm.
failures. And that night I failed. Made a mistake. And my dad told me something, man. He looked at me, and I was ready for my dad just to lay into me, cuss me out, chew me out, tell me what an idiot I am, tell me I'm grounded, all that. But instead, my dad looks over at me and he stops the car, pulls it over, and he tells me to look at him in the eyes. And he tells me that in a few years, you're going to become a man. And I'm not going to be able to save you.
Mm.
So you're going to have to figure out right now, Greg, what type of man you want to be in this world. Because there's
Mm.
losers like what you were tonight. And there's people that stand up for what's good and right. And you're going to need to figure out what you are and what you're going to choose right now. I'm not starting this car until you choose.
Mm.
Tell him I want to choose what's good and right. Says, okay, let's go home. And by the way, you're going to go into that store tomorrow, apologize to the store owner, tell them whatever, ask them whatever you need to do. What do I need to do to make this right? That's what you're going to do. Oh, yes, sir. So a few weeks later, my dad has a terrible stroke. And that was like the last deep conversation I've ever had with my dad.
Mm.
Now, fast forward, I'm getting now geared up to go to trial. I'm sitting in this room with my attorney and my mom. And this next thing I'm going to tell you is so hard, man, because I got presented with a deal, and there's a reason why the Williamson County has a 98% conviction rate, because it's not 98% of cases that go to trial are found guilty. It's 98% of cases get found or get deemed guilty through a lot of plea bargains, because
Mm.
plea bargains are there to guarantee a conviction. So, of course, they do the whole deal, right? They give you a
Mhm.
plea bargain. Now, remember, they're trying to send me to prison on a charge that's now been upgraded to super aggravated sexual assault of a child because the child's age. The child age at the time was 4 years old. So now I'm sitting there with a super aggravated sexual assault case, which now carries a prison sentence if you're found guilty with a 25-year minimum, day for day, no parole, to a 99-year max, day for
Mm.
day, no parole. So I sit there, and my attorney tells me they're trying to offer you 10 years probation, like lifetime sex registration, a certain amount of fines, and a certain amount of days in jail. And I was blown back at that time. And the first thing I thought of was, you are so rock solid on believing that I did this to this child and that I'm supposed to go to prison for 25 to 99 years, and you're willing to offer me 10 years probation? That's what I'm thinking in my head. You are
Mm.
a disgrace to the judicial system and to a victim if they were actually truly sexually assaulted. That's what I'm thinking
Mm.
in my head. And I say, no, there's nothing that I'm going to accept than freedom. There's nothing less than
Yeah.
freedom that I'm going to accept. Like, you don't get it. She leaves, comes back a couple minutes later and say 5 years probation. 5 years probation. Now I'm like, this is a circus. This is a joke.
Hmm.
Now I'm like, I'm staying solid. But then I look
Yeah.
over at my mom. My mom's crying. Like, my mom is crying in her hands. And I knew immediately in that moment what my mom's thinking about. And she picks her head up from her hands and looks at me and she says, "Mijo," my mom's Hispanic, "Mijo, think about it. Think about it." And I'm not thinking about it. Because if I think
Yeah.
about it, I'm gonna think my way to it.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about it. And she says, "Just think about it." And I said, "Mom, what do you mean?" She says, "Mio, something can happen to you if we lose. You'll die." And when my mom said that, then I woke up. Now, remember when I told you that, like, being naive is sometimes a good thing? It's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes
Yeah.
being naive is being stupidly courageous enough to not think about consequences to when you do things. But sometimes they pay
Mm-hmm.
off, man. They pay off
Mm-hmm.
because you go big. You go big, and everybody that's successful in this world, they went big, and they didn't care
Yeah.
about the consequences because they were gonna go down swinging, and they were gonna throw everything they had at the wall and only focus on the things that stick. Like, that's what successful people do, and I didn't know any of this at the time. I was just naive. I wasn't gonna
Mm-hmm.
think my way out of things. I didn't live enough life, but then I'm just overwhelmed, and I tell my attorney, like, "Man, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go use the restroom. Can I do that?" "Yeah, go ahead." So I do. I go to the restroom and I take a piss and I look at myself in the mirror as I'm washing my hands. I'm as nervous as all get out. And I look at myself in the mirror and I see my father. I see my
Mm-hmm.
dad. And my dad's saying something to me. And guess what he guess what he asked me? "What type of man do you want to be in this world?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "God, Dad. God, man." Um, because there's a man that's a loser and there's a man that stands up for what's good and right. So I go back and I say, "I'm not taking it."
Hmm.
And I tell my mom why. I said, "Mom, this is my decision. I'm not doing it. I am not going in front of everyone I love, in front of God, in front of that judge, and say I did something I didn't do." And she says, "Okay."
Mm-hmm.
So we go to trial, and it's a 7-day trial, and it's a sham. All of it's a sham. The second child recants on trial, on stand, saying nothing happened to him. The first child, you could clearly see through the video that he's confused. Apparently, the day that Greg sexually assaulted me, my mom walked in and they had a fight, and my mom threw him down the stairs and punched him in the face, and then this and that, and that was never addressed. That was never cleared up. But also, the description of the place that this happened was in the room with the trophies, and the assailant was wearing SpongeBob pajama pants, and those are owned by Jonathan McCarty, and
Mm.
that is Jonathan's room, the room with the trophies.
Interesting.
Never got looked into, never was investigated, nothing. And here's the thing, man, the thing that ultimately exonerated me, and I know that's a lot of people's question right now in the head, well, what exonerated you? Well, the thing that exonerated me was the thank God for technology. Like, I'll start with that. Technology has come a long way, and the reason why we can exonerate a lot of people is through the advancement of DNA evidence. And I was not exonerated on DNA evidence because there was no DNA. Apparently, they were saying that this sexual assault happened months before the accusation actually happened or was brought forth. But one thing about technology, Eddie, is if you have your location services on your phone and you send a text message, or if you take a picture,
Mhm.
everything you do is GPS stamped. You just need a forensic scientist to go in and extract that data.
Sure.
And nobody ever looked into that. My own defense attorney, again, she's conflicted. She won't look into that because her job is to defend me, not try to prove that somebody else did this. She never
Mm.
did either. But, and by the way, my mom sold our childhood mobile home I was telling you about to pay for
Mhm.
her. So my mom
Oh,
became
jeez.
homeless to pay for her, living with my
Mm.
brother. And yeah, I get found guilty at the end of that trial. And again, no evidence to convict me. The jury ended up believing a child that put my name in this accusation other than me.
Mm.
And this same jury bought into the labeling of the DA labeling me during jury selection as Ted Bundy and put my mugshot next to his,
Jeez.
painting me to be a monster before even a trial.
Ugh.
So he specifically pointed at me and he said, the same monster that could do this to all these people, Greg Kelley's the same monster that could do that to a bunch of kids. Yeah. Um,
Unreal.
Eddie, I struggle with unforgiveness a lot in my life. I did for a while,
Mm.
and it's very easy to hold hatred towards somebody after they do something like that to you. And
Sure.
so, long story short, I end up getting found guilty. After that, I get sentenced, or I get put into a suicide smock in a medical cell. And the very next day, and I'm 19 at the time. I just turned 19. The very next
Mhm.
day, I go to that same room where I was presented that that plea bargain.
Mhm.
I end up getting another deal presented to me. It's all about deals, man. That's our justice system. It's freaking
Jeez.
stupid. Um, it's like not seeking the truth. Like, let's not
Yeah.
fight for the truth, y'all. Let's not fight for justice for all, but let's make deals. Um,
Mm.
so I'm in this room and the attorney comes to me and says, "Hey, the judge and the DA wants to make a deal with you that if you waive your right to appeal this trial, then you will get the bare minimum of 25 years day for day." Now, at this
Goodness.
point, I'm devastated, man. I'm numb. I don't wanna make decisions anymore. I make poor ones apparently, because I should have never
Mm.
I wish I never went to trial that day. Now, here's the thing, hindsight is 20/20, Eddie. So, during
Yeah.
that time, I'm in pain. But, like, when you're not used to pain and you're not used to persevering through pain, you wanna quit. And
Sure.
this kind of any runners you guys know, during an ultra, specifically a 100-miler, somewhere right around 60 miles, you reach a really deep low. Like a super deep low. Like you're hurt your glycogen's gone, you're hallucinating a little bit, especially if you're not a seasoned ultra runner like me. And if you go do a 100-miler, like, dude, I was in the valley of the shadow of death
Mhm.
after mile 60. But I remember somebody at an aid station, his name was Eric, and I think he placed a couple times on podium at Hard Rock and Leadville, and like he's super seasoned, right? Dude's a dog. He was volunteering at one of the aid stations where I was at my lowest, and he saw me coming in banged up, and I'm like, whenever you're looking down at the ground and you're like, why the hell am I here? Like, what am I doing? And and he was just like, bro, keep going, just keep going. And it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Just keep going. And he says this, once the sun comes, sip on this ramen noodle soup. And once the sun comes up, you're going to feel like a new man and you're going to finish. It's just temporary. It
Yeah.
passes. And I said, you sure? Because I'm Gabe, get the car. And, and he's like, yes, dude, once the sun comes up, you're a brand new man. Boy, he wasn't lying, dude. Once the sun came up, something came over me. Like, I got a second wind, dude. Like, I'm a brand new man.
Yeah.
My stomach reset. My electrolyte imbalance was no longer there, and I wasn't puking up my guts anymore. The sun came up, and I felt it was a new day. And I finished. I finished the Salt Flats 100 in
Mhm.
Utah, and beautiful lesson. Beautiful
Yeah.
lesson. So, but he's been through enough of them to realize, like, hey, man, I've been where you're at. Like, you're good. Just keep going, one foot in
Yep.
front of the other, brother. It's just temporary. So,
Yeah, there's something about the magic of those ramen noodles and the sunrise. Like, I know Sally does the same thing. It's like, if I can get to that sunrise, I can live another day.
yeah, you're chasing that sunrise because the
Yep.
night sucks, man. Like, being in the running in the middle of the night is, like, cool whenever if you start and, like, you're happy-go-lucky, but, like, if you've already gone through it all day and you're beat to death, it's
Mm,
like the night I mean, it's a tester, bro. Like, it's a tester between the
yeah.
interested and the committed, and I always tell people, and it applies to anything in life, Eddie, there's 2 type of people in this world. They're the people that are interested, and everybody's interested at a start line. Everybody's interested at the
Oh,
start
yeah.
line. Everybody's happy-go-lucky, they're high-fiving each other, they prepared for this day, but I truly believe the people that reach the finish line and they walk through hell doing it, they were the committed. Like, they were
Mm,
the committed. Now, there's gonna be injuries that happen and you're gonna have to
sure.
actually DNF medically, but, like, the ones that didn't quit, that didn't go into or succumb to the suffering of discomfort and pain, they reached the finish line, they were committed, and it's like, you
Mhm.
look around and you're like, "These are my people." Like,
Yeah.
these congratulations, like, we made it, and
Mm,
so, you know, it's a beautiful thing, man, and whenever I got presented that plea deal of 25 years to sentence myself apparently for 25 years, I gave it to my family, and I said, "I can't make this decision, you guys make it, I make bad decisions." And ultimately, my family ended up deciding that I would get out at 44 years old. I would do 25
mm,
years. Now, I say
Congratulations,
this
you guys
because
are
it's
fine.
kind of like a crazy situation because I'm really glad, man, that I
Do
this specific evidence that
do you guys
exonerated
keep
me
track together?
didn't get presented in trial. Because if
mm,
my cell phone record, remember when I told you the difference between being wrongfully convicted and exonerated?
yeah.
If this would have been presented in trial and I was found not guilty, then I would have walked and there was always gonna be a question. Always gonna be a question. And I say this now, hindsight 2020 of being an exonerated person of the state of Texas, one of very few, 205th out of Texas' history, to be exonerated. And there's, with the advancement of DNA evidence and DNA technology, there's been more and more and more every year. But
Mhm,
being exonerated is completely different. Being exonerated, you are innocent by fact. And I would be living 2 different worlds right now. I surely would not be on this podcast,
mm,
and I surely probably wouldn't be running ultras, and I surely probably wouldn't be a father or a husband because my wife would
yeah.
have been probably left, and she went out to LA during when I was in prison. Like I said, she was a committed dancer. She became
Mm,
an LA Chargers cheerleader while I was in prison, and
mm,
she had her own ambitions and desires, and when I got torn away and sent to prison, I remember us writing and I told her, like, "You don't have to do this. Like, you don't have to be here. This is me. This is my life. You go live yours." And she wrote me back saying, like, "I don't wanna hear it, Greg. I'm with you all the way. It's me and you. Like, I love you." And, like, I never asked her if she was gonna stay for 25 years, but I knew
yeah.
that she was going to. And
Mm,
we stayed together through that whole time. And she went out there and
that's awesome.
she was always told, man, like, I'm a firm believer, man, that you can do and achieve anything you set your mind to in this world. Like, proving my innocence and getting exonerated, it's an impossible feat to a lot of people. But I'm a firm believer that you never lose a fight, that you never quit.
Mm,
Because I think of a lot of like Andy Glaze. We talked about Andy Glaze, right?
yeah.
Um, this last Moab he did. I mean, he DNF'd 2 times, he went back a 3rd
Yep.
time, killed it, finished, but he never lost because he never
Mm,
quit, and he ended up
yeah.
winning, and so, I think of, like, when people do things like that, like Andy, I think of myself, a
Mhm,
lot during this process of having and maintaining hope while I was in prison, and in prison, man, I learned a lot of things while I was in there. I got tested in a lot of ways. A lot of those stories are gonna be in my book, Imagine going to prison as a child molester,
Yeah.
how hard that would be.
Yeah,
Um,
that was one of the things I wanted to ask.
yeah.
Like, I know you were in prison, was it 5 years total?
Yeah, so 6 years total, the case,
6
but
years.
I was incarcerated in a prison for 3.5 years, and then 2 years of that, 2 years after 3.5 years, I was, on appeal bond. So technically still a convicted
Okay.
felon, but on appeal bond from prison.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of the like, you were addressing the people listening are ultra runners and, I know that they love hearing mindset stuff, and what's something that, you were able to gain from that insane situation and being in something that you were wrongly accused of for a long time.
mhm.
How did you get through that? Like, how did you mentally wake up every day, um, and push through?
Yeah, so during that process, man, it was hard at first. It was very hard.
I bet.
I'd be lying if I told you that earlier on, there was a lot of numbing process and there's a lot of hope. There was a lot of, man, it had to do with a lot of hope. It had to do with a
Mm,
lot of people fighting for me, man. Like, it's different when other people believe in you. It's different
sure.
when you have a spouse that believes in you. It's different whenever you have friends or a family that believes in you. And there's sometimes, man, where you have the only people that believe in you is you, but you are
Mm,
still important. So you
mhm,
believe in you. So as long as somebody's believing in you and that sometimes that might need to be yourself, then there is still hope. And
mm,
whenever I was in prison, my third day in jail, they held a rally outside the jail and they were chanting free GK, free GK. It was all over the news. Hundreds of people
mm.
started coming out because those people saw my trial and they saw how much of a sham it was. And here's another
Interesting.
thing, Eddie. The reason why I didn't give up hope was because I, when you truly believe that you're innocent and you really want to fight and you want to see the finish line, there's something just beautiful about the fight. And
Mm,
for me, I grew up with so many people, man, that taught me what it meant to fight. Like all the way back from like having my coaches being hard nosed to my brothers, to my mother fighting brain tumors, to my dad hanging on. My mom's a double widow, and I'll write her story one day. My mom's first
mm,
husband was murdered in Guatemala, and so
mm,
she came to America with 2 boys, when my dad was an international baseball recruiter, and he brought them to America and married her, and they've had such a lovely marriage, and 3 other boys were born, me being included into that, and so, my mom's a fighter, and
mm,
so, like, those examples, man, like, I pull from that, and also and just to kinda be frank and to be as straightforward as possible, I made a decision, man, to fully lay down all my burdens of unforgiveness and hatred at the cross. Like, I became a Christian in
mm.
prison, and it
Awesome.
was trial by fire, brother. It was trial by fire because there was nothing that I could give
Mm,
to God. There was nothing I could give to Christ to say, "Hey, look, this is what I got. Is this enough to follow you?" No, like, I'm a true believer now, man, that, like, when the Bible talks about, "Come to me, um, all who are tired and weary, I will give you rest." Bro, like,
mm,
oh, dude, I was tired and I was weary and I didn't wanna live anymore, and there was a
mm,
time, my first week in jail, and everything happened at the very beginning, and I needed it to so I could go on this journey, this faith-filled journey and this fighter's journey of seeing the next day and tackling that, and then seeing the next day and tackling that. I was in my medical cell, and I was on suicide watch, and I was about to, like, get transferred to my maximum security prison. I'm still in the county jail,
okay.
and all the inmates know what I'm in there for and all that, but I'm in this turtle suicide suit, and there came a day where it was from time for me to get out of the turtle suit and get my necessities, and bro, I'm telling you, whenever I'm sitting in that cell and I have nothing, no Netflix, no social media, no friends, that I can talk to, like, no phone, nothing, no distractions, no football, right? No
Mm,
practice, no weights, no fitness, like, no distractions. And I say that because fitness is really unhealthy and it's a big part of my life, right? Running and all that. But it can
Yeah.
also be an idol to other things that are
Sure.
important, right? It needs to complement you. It doesn't need to take you over, right? So many
Mhm.
people use running, for instance. In ultra running, I've realized how many people I had conversations with a lot of great runners that have fallen off, that have been burnt out. And they've been burnt out because they've been using running to run away from something instead of running towards something. And
Mm.
so I listen. There's this guy who was running like a sub 220 marathon. He said I did that for a few years, but I got into running off of a very ugly divorce, and I hated myself.
Mm.
But I never running into anything, and now I'm fat, and I was talking to this guy at a party one day, and he showed me on his phone like all his
Cool.
accomplishments. I was like, bro, what happened? He's like, bro, I was running away. Like I was running away. I
Mm.
wasn't running towards anything. And I was like, "Dang, that's a lesson." Like, that's a lesson
Mm.
to be learned. If you wanna incorporate this to the in the rest of your life and get into ultras and get into running, you can't be running away from something. You gotta be running towards the better version of you or running towards something that you truly want
Yeah.
to accomplish or just be an all-out savage. You want more of that in your life. Like, run
Yeah.
towards it. Don't run away from your pain. Face it. Use it. So, I'm thinking, like, in my head I'm sitting in a cell, no distractions, and this officer drops my bare necessities into my cell. And in the bare necessities is a toothbrush, a bar of soap, a blanket, some clothes, and a Bible. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, "Whoa!" I'm like, I chuckled actually. I said, "Bible? What's this about?" Like, I grew up in church. I grew up going to mass every once in a while with my mom, but I never
Mhm.
really, like, truly I was a check the box Christian, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I could never truly say that I led my life with the reflections of Christ, like, I couldn't do that. And so,
Mm.
I, cracked it open, started reading, had nothing else to do, no distractions,
Yeah.
and I allowed it to start giving me a little hope and a little bit of peace in my life. I started reading a lot of the red letters and the Gospels, and an inmate told me, "Read the Gospels, don't read the Old Testament. Like, read Genesis and then read the Gospels, learn about Jesus, learn about the faith, and then get the Old Testament. It's the history book." So, by that order, it all started making a lot more sense to me. But I realized the
Nice.
more that I read, the more the seeds started planting into my life. It started shaping me into someone who can weather the storm. And
Mm.
this was a storm, brother. Like, it was a storm
Yeah.
for
Oh,
me,
yeah.
and mostly in my head, sometimes physically, I had to fight. Um, thank God my life was never threatened. I truly
Mm.
believe that God sent his angels, man, to protect me because
Mm.
I had to witness, Eddie, people get stabbed and people with my charge get killed,
Mm.
and it's sad. Like, it's a
Ugh,
miracle
can't
that I'm
imagine.
here because there's a saying in the state of Texas, what truly exonerated me was my cell phone. It proved that I
Mm.
was never there. That's 3 years later. I was getting bench warranted back to Williamson County Jail for an innocence hearing, and that innocence hearing happened on August 2nd of 2017, and all the evidence of my innocence that my PI was working on for the 3.5 years I was in jail got brought forth, and it absolutely blew everybody's mind how we
Mm.
could get it so wrong. But during that 3.5
Jeez.
years, man, God was molding me into who I am today. Like, who
That's
I am
awesome.
today. So, if I could give a message to anybody who's listening to this, so many beautiful things, so many beautiful flowers can be can come from dead gardens, man. Like, there's this old saying, there's a song called Graves of Gardens by Hillsong, or no, by Elevation Worship. And it's all that song's about is how a grave turned into a garden when decisions had to be made. And for
Yeah.
me, it resonates with me so much because I'm going back to Huntsville, Texas in February.
Yeah.
Huntsville is where I was wrongfully convicted. That place is a graveyard to me, and I'm running the Rocky Raccoon 100, and I'm gonna document the whole thing. I'm
Mm.
making a very well produced documentary on it because I want to exemplify what it means to go back to a graveyard and make it into your garden.
Love
because
that.
I was wrongfully convicted in this place, and I found life in it, and now I'm home, I'm exonerated, I'm vindicated, but I wanna go back, man. I wanna rewrite a story in that city. I don't want that city to be my grave anymore. I want it to be my garden,
Mm,
and I wanna go run 100 miles in it, and I wanna prove to people that you can face your monsters and your demons because I hate that place. I hate it.
mm,
It scares me. It makes me anxious. I have nightmares about it. But we're running away from things way too much in life, man. And right now on this road to the Rocky Raccoon 100 in February, I'm running towards it. I'm this
yeah,
road, man, I'm putting in the miles every week. I'm dropping the weight right now. Like I usually sitting around 225. Um, I'm dropping down to 210, 205. I usually do a huge
yeah,
drop, when I'm training for a
yeah.
race. I try to do 2 to 3 races a year. But man, I love it, man. The grind is beautiful. The fight's beautiful. And yeah, I'm writing a book right now from my whole situation. November, it took 2 years after August, that innocence hearing. I got put out on an appeal bond to be home after I proved my innocence to the county judge. It took 2 years, so at the end of 2019, I was fully exonerated by the state of Texas. I was exonerated by all 9 judges of the Court of Criminal Appeals. They
Mm,
all declared me innocent, and they said that this was one of the worst examples of due process. This
mm,
could have easily been prevented. That's why I created a foundation called the
jeez.
Vindication Foundation. I created the Vindication Foundation in hopes to help prevent wrongful convictions by telling my story, by telling what it looks like not to do the job and wear the badge honorably as a detective. And I've
Mm,
had the privileges, man, multiple times to stand on stages and talk to police officers that just got out of the academy and talk to attorneys who just graduated law school as they're going into their field. And I got to tell them my story and cast a
mm,
little bit of fear of what it looks like to do the wrong job, to do it bad. So, yeah, man, I never asked for this story, but unfortunately it was written into my life, but hey, what are you gonna do? You gotta keep moving, you know?
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I know you have a documentary series, right? I know I watched the first one that's out. It's actually we'll call you have it called the Vindication, like the second part of it, right?
Yeah, so
Um,
it's the Vindication, Desert Wolf
oh, the
100K.
Vindication. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah,
So that's the first, so it's gonna be a series of documentaries called the Vindication documentaries, and it's just gonna be me running these races, bro. Like, it's
yeah.
gonna just me tying in my story to why I'm doing it. Ultra running is not like a hobby for me. It's like a second, dude. Anybody who's committed to ultra running, you realize it's gotta be like a full-time job. Like it's,
Oh
bro.
yeah,
Like I'm putting in 20-hour weeks. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yep.
Um, but man, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like it's a thing that makes me feel like me. It makes me feel free, and it's my people. Like these people
Yeah.
are my people. Like a lot of y'all who are listening, you have stories, and don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to tell it,
Mm,
and don't be afraid to explain why you do it, because there's a reason
yeah.
why you sign up. You give good your hard earned money to go and suffer. There's a reason.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying you, and so you're signing up to go and dig a little deeper into figuring out who you are. So yeah,
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, it's called From Wrongfully Imprisoned to Running Ultramarathons, the Vindication. It's on YouTube. Chronicles like Greg just said, the Desert Wolf 100K. And so you're gonna have a couple more of those. Obviously, you're gonna have the Rocky Raccoon 100 as part of that series too.
yeah. So I got the Rocky Raccoon 100 in February. Super pumped to run that. I got the Sedonia Canyons 125 in May,
Oh, awesome.
so I'm gonna do that one. It's part of the
Sweet.
Cocodona, like the little brother of the Cocodona.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yep.
then I got the Bigfoot 200. I got in,
Oh, sweet.
so I got in.
Awesome.
Terrified, bro.
Yeah.
Terrified. But hey, man, if it doesn't terrify you, then it's not worth doing. So I
That's right, man. That's exciting.
yeah, so I'd love to talk to Sally about that and see how any advice on that. And but
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
man, I am Yeah, I love it, man, and I love just looking forward to it. My wife thinks I'm nuts, but, uh but she's so supportive, man. She's so supportive, and,
Yeah.
my daughter one day that's a big reason too, man, like, my daughter, like, I want her to be blown away, like, when she's
Mm.
older and her freaking friends are like, "Your dad does what? Like, what did your dad
Yeah.
do?" Like, and like, "Yeah, my dad did these," and, you know, you always wanna be the hero to your children, and
Sure.
so, yeah, man.
She's, your daughter's just under 1, is that correct?
Yeah, she's 17 months, so she's gonna turn
Oh,
2,
17 months, okay.
yeah, pretty
Almost
soon,
2,
and
okay.
she's a joy, man. Like, she's such a good baby. Like,
Mm,
I try not to somebody told me you can't brag too much about your kids, but, like, I try to, like, be humble about it, but, like, dude, she
yeah.
sleeps 12 hours a day.
Oh,
We put
nice.
her down, like, I like to rock her because I know that she's not gonna be this size forever, and it
Yeah,
wrecks me to
yeah.
think that they're gonna get big enough where I can't hold them or hold
Oh,
her. And
yep,
so I mean, you got kids that are in
yep,
college now, and
yep.
so it's like, yeah, dude, it's like I'm trying to soak it in, and it's our first one. We want a big family, but this
Mm,
one's special, man. And and being a father is something that wasn't never promised, man, for me
yeah,
and Gabriel. Like if she would have stuck by my side and I would have been 45, she would have been 45. Like having kids would have been it wouldn't have happened, if I got
sure,
out. And if I got
sure.
out, I mean, I could have died in there. I could
Yep,
I could have killed myself in that. Who know? I don't know. And that's a life
yeah.
that I can't think about. Like I think about the what ifs in my life, and there's a reason why I'm living this one right now, and there's a reason why I'm here.
Mm,
And but when you're in hindsight 2020 and you're looking back on your life and you think about everything that could have went wrong, bro, it's
mhm,
terrifying. It is. It is crazy to think about. Um, but I'm very fortunate to be in this position and have this platform. And
sure.
who was it? Picasso said, "The meaning of your life is to find your gift, and the purpose is to give it away," or something like that.
Mm,
Man, I love that because I'm
that's
trying to
awesome.
find my gift in all of this. And
Mhm,
at first, I thought it was football, and then I'm an entrepreneur. I invented a whole product line of axe throwing targets called Tomahawk targets. It did very well. It's doing very well. It's like I've delegated my responsibilities to a couple employees that I trust and that are killing it. And, you know, now I'm able to now focus more on training and running.
mm,
And I've got those ducks being lined up in a row and being more of a father. Like this year, I talked to one of my employees and I said, "Hey, I was giving out Christmas bonuses and I gave her, I'm like, hey, I want to thank you really quick. This first year of my daughter's life, if it wasn't for you like killing it at the shop here, I wouldn't have had slow mornings. And
mm,
I'm realizing now how much I appreciate you because I was able to not go to work until 11 or 12 or at noon or whatever
yeah,
and have that morning with my daughter. And
that's awesome.
it's really important, man, to reflect that way because your employees make up your businesses and they take care of your
Sure,
customers. So it's yeah, man. Life is amazing and I can't
yeah,
complain.
that's awesome. Well, you have a book coming out, you said, and you also have a movie coming out, correct?
Yeah, man. So I have a book I'm writing right now. I turn it in February, at the end of
Okay.
February. It's for a reason. I'm trying to put Rocky in there.
Yeah,
And so I want to finish Rocky and I want to put it in there. And so I'm
yeah,
turning it in at the end of February. And so this hasn't hit main news yet because it's still in the preliminary phases, but it will be, and I can talk about it.
yeah,
But I signed a movie deal with my so two production companies acquired my life rights to make a featured movie, a Lifetime movie,
awesome.
specifically strictly with the Lifetime network. And
Okay,
Mario Lopez, who's one of my friends, we became a good friends after watching my document. He watched my documentary, and we became pretty close after that.
cool.
And pretty crazy, man, to think that like my story would have me befriend a celebrity. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like Mario Lopez, like you know him from Saved by the Bell, Slater, and all that,
AC
right?
Slater? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so getting to know him to see how genuine he is, man, like, he's a good dude, and
Mm,
it gives me hope to know that, like, celebrities at that level are good people, and he is,
yeah,
and, he will text me
that's cool.
randomly, like, just telling me a Merry Christmas, like, and it's just it's awesome, and so,
That is,
um so yeah, I'm making a movie with him. He's gonna be producing it with his production team. It's gonna be
sweet.
coming out sometime at the end of the year next year. And I got the book coming out. I'm hoping
Yeah,
for a release at the end of the summer of next year in
okay.
2026. So I got a big 2026 coming, and
Yeah.
I got some big news for something happening in 2027, but I don't want to talk about it yet because I got to get
Yeah.
through 2026 first.
Yeah.
So
Oh, man, well, that's awesome, dude. Well, your story is incredible. I know you've really inspired a lot of people that have been listening today, and, they're probably gonna dig deeper into who you are and your story. So how can they connect with you, or where can they find you online?
yeah, so of course socials.
Yeah,
I get on there as much as I can. It's Instagram, GR Kelley 2. And
okay.
then my wife and I have a TikTok. It's called Keeping Up with the Kellys, but it's mostly just
Nice.
kind of documenting our life after wrongful imprisonment. So it's a lot
Okay.
of we kind of keep it as a memory bank of our child and kind of the new milestone she's hitting and
Cool.
yeah, and then my YouTube, it's called Greg Kelley Freedom. That's where I'll be posting a lot of my
Okay.
race documentaries and kinda other things, like, I'll do talks about things I'm passionate about, news updates and what's going on. But, yeah, no, I appreciate everyone who's listening, who heard the story. It's been a tough journey, but I'm hoping that, anything that you're going through in your life, know that there is a finish line, and,
Yeah.
we gotta go through a pretty deep desert to be able to do that.
Mm.
Think of, like, a Badwater 135, you know? There's you gotta it's a tough one, but there is a
Through the heat
beautiful
and yeah, through the
yeah,
desert.
through the scorching hot in the desert and all the things that you didn't expect, but you gotta
Yeah.
persevere through them because there's a glorious, beautiful finish line, and then it's
Mhm.
off to the next race. So that's
That's
just
right.
life, right? So, um,
Yeah.
yeah. So thank you, man. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure and it was an honor.
Yeah, you gained a lot of new fans today, and we're all gonna be cheering for you at Rocky Raccoon. I know that's gonna be a special race, obviously, where it's held this time, and yeah, so we'll be cheering for you, and we're excited to follow your journey, Greg.
It means the world, man. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
And send Sally my love, and I'll catch you guys later.
I will do. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks again.
All right, take care, brother. See ya.